What is this?
Mem
What?
Zayin.
Mem Zayin Amud Aleph.
Base.
So have to be on Amud Aleph. We're on the Mishnah over here.
I
We
had two
got
lines
to
from the
the
bottom.
Mishnah.
Again, that's right.
So we're Mem Zayin Amud Aleph by the Mishnah.
Oh, we're on Mem Zayin on an Aleph? I'm sorry. That's the Mishnah.
You have a good attitude.
So we're behind, okay.
Okay. Nimsa Haorig. They found a murderer. The whole case of Eklavuf is low no damiko. You don't know who the murderer is. So the city brings a kapara for the tzibur. It's not a kapara for the Batzich, it's a kapara for the tzibur. That there is like an arvus kind of thing that we're responsible because there was that a murder happened. But if you find the murderer, then
Have
it's
they
not.
already done it, or they're just?
So it says depends when they did. If they found the murderer before they chopped the head off the egla, so then nothing happened. That means that it's schooling. It doesn't become, it's not hektish, it's not kodesh in the first place, but it's going to become aser bano. The point is the egla rufa after they did it, so that animal
It goes out and lives, is what it means, right?
right. That means in the chulin, it's not nothing is aser bano.
Yeah.
So nothing happened. Means even though they already brought it to Nachal Eisan, Rashi points out that this mission is machlok. It's not so simple. Some hold that it already becomes designated for the egla rufa once it's brought down to Nachal Eisan. Once they bring it to the area, it's already becomes asabana. But Amish doesn't know like that. Amish knows that it only becomes asabana when they actually were over it. Once they chopped its head off. So the mission starts. If the murderer was found before they chopped the head, so then it's not asabana. It goes back. It's nothing. It goes back into the pasture with the rest of the herd. But if they didn't find the murderer until after they touch out his head. So then tikover b'mkoma. Then it's asabana like regular rufa, and it comes asabana. Have to bury it. Agav it says b'mkoma that they bury it.
Oh, normally they leave it for the birds to eat.
No, they bury it.
Normally,
And this is called normal already. Even though they found the murderer, but they found him too late. Shalasafik basa mitchilasa. The whole point was because they didn't know who it was.
If they don't find the murderer, they bury it.
Yes, and now it says that even if they found the murderer, but they found the murderer after it was already rough. So then it did its job. It came because of a suffix, and at the time it wasn't suffix. So it did its job from the time that they did the egla roof until the murderer was found. So it accomplished that it was a kapara for the tzibur as long as there was still a suffix. Now there's no suffix anymore. That's not a reason why it didn't do what it was supposed to do. In the first case, it didn't do anything because it was the murderer was found before they did the arifa. So then nothing happened. It didn't accomplish anything, and it can be chulin. It's not asabana. But once they did the arifa, when the tzibur did not yet know who it was, so the tzibur does need a kapara. So then, even though they found the murderer, it's still accomplished, and therefore it's asabana. The Mishnah that says this point now, how about the murderer himself? Don't think that the murderer got any kind of kapara because of the egla rufa. It's not a kapara for the murderer. For sure, the murderer is going to be killed. He doesn't change him at all. The point is only like a kind of an arvus, a kind of a responsibility for the tzibur for the fact that there's a murderer amongst them. But once they take care of the murderer, so then they don't have any responsibility. They did their responsibility. But the fact that they had to get a kapara until the murderer was found, that doesn't exempt him. Once he's found, he has the regular law of that he's chayav misa. The Mishnah continues now. We're Mem Zayin, right? Mem Zayin and the Mishnah where Amar Aleph, and it's the third line of the Mishnah, Eidach Adomer. So a little introduction to the Mishnah is that if even one person that saw the murderer, so there's no egla rufa. Egla rufa is only there's no egla rufa.
If somebody saw,
and even if he doesn't know who it is, he saw the murderer, he saw it. So he knows that there's a murderer, and then he ran away. There's no egla rufa. Egla rufa is only if you don't know if nobody knows who it is. No one saw it at all. Even if he saw him, but then he doesn't know who it is. The Gemara is going to say also there's no egla rufa. It's only if nobody knows. They found the dead man. They don't know what happened. But
why would that be? In other words, when nobody even knows he died and nobody
he didn't die, he was killed.
When somebody's murdered and nobody even sees it, then it's like, why weren't we protecting him? But if somebody sees him, then somebody was there that at least, even if they couldn't stop us.
Lono.
Just from a pasuk.
Don't know
you
that,
said.
right?
I was
That's
trying
the
to think
pasuk?
of a sport.
That's what do you see? You must say challah. The Gemara is going to say because lo noda, maybe the pasuk is saying it's also be good, but Leib's asking for
Sport.
the reason. Why should it be like that? That if somebody knows about it, so then there's no egla rufa. It's only when it's completely unknown. So the Mishnah is going to talk about detailed cases, but Hakdama is that if anybody knows, if one aide comes and says I saw, so then it's no egla rufa. So we ask him, who is it? Where? I don't know, but I saw him. I saw it. So then there's no egla rufa.
Because
Even though you're not going to
somehow
kill him.
somebody was looking after him in a sense, even though we couldn't know.
You're saying smart already. I know.
We can't blame ourselves that we weren't, that we.
I don't get it.
The murder-
There's a-
There's a murder.
We notice a murderer.
Yeah,
There's always a murderer.
But the fact is, you saw the murder. right?
So therefore
The other
what?
way is that it could have been,
No, we know that it's a murderer. There's no question. It wasn't a line. We know that it's a murderer.
maybe it's in, willful, unwillful, all that type of thing, but by seeing it, you can see there was.
No, that's not. You see, no, we know that it's a willful. We know that was the case. We see the knife in the back. We know that it was a willful murder. We're
No
not.
question, okay.
But still, if no dash, then you bring a egla rufa. But if anybody would know, then you don't bring egla rufa. Eidach comes and says, "I know, I saw." Even if we can't kill the murderer, Eidach is not enough. Even if he says who it is, but we can't kill the murderer because that is not believed. But as far as the din of egla rufa, there's no egla rufa only if nobody knows. If one person says he knows, you don't make egla rufa. So that's the given. The Mishnah is going to take that for granted. Now it talks about what if there's some hekchasha, there's a contradiction between Eidim. Here it starts. Eid echad, maybe I'll Eid echad omer v'isi esahorig ve'eid echad omer lo re'isa. What if one against one? One person says I saw it. One person says no, you didn't. How does he know you didn't? Maybe because you were with me, maybe because I was in the area and you weren't there, whatever. But there's a contradiction. If the Eid Echad could be believed, means it's partial to the mission that if there's an Eid Echad that comes forward, then there's no Egla Rufa. But if it's one against one, what do you do then? Or even Isha Ameres Reisi, Isha Ameres Lo Reisi. This is not a Chiddush. What if one woman comes and says that I know? That's also on the Egla Rufa. But now it's one against one. And even if it's a woman against a woman, so then how you are friend, then it's canceled out. Then it's as if there's no aid. If it would have been one aid that says that I know about it, so then you would not do the Egla Rufa, but it's one against one. So then you don't. Then you do the Egla Rufa. Then you're back to the regular cases if they cancel out. And this is all reminiscent of a Mishnah we had before by Sotah, the same thing. If they saw the shoes was on, it's almost the same format as the Mishnah before. The next case, maybe a little different color over here. I think we did the same thing last time. One against two. One says I saw, and two says he didn't see. How you are? Of course, two knock down the one, and then therefore we don't have any edus and regular Egla Rufa. Case number 3. Shnayim omrim ra'inu echad omer lohen lo re'isa. 2 against 1. 2 say that we saw, and 1 says no, you didn't. So of course 2 is stronger. Lo yewarfin, because we have 2 people that saw. The truth is even 1 person that saw that 1 person that saw. But here you have a question of hakasha. You have some kind of a 2 against 1. Yeah. So the case number 2 and 3 are simple. That says 2 against 1. The 2 win in either direction. The first case was 1 against 1, and it says that it cancels out. I think Gemara is going to talk about that.
It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman.
Right. That shows us that even a woman that comes and says she knows also not going to bring Egla Rufa. Just like we have cases, usually women are not counted as testimony, but here it is good enough. Here it is. It's not a question of testimony as much as does somebody know. Lo no damiko, but somebody says that she knows. So that's the end of that. And now it starts Agarata. I mean, that's halachic Agarata. Mishrabu al-Chaim. When there started being a lot of murderers, but they stopped Egla Rufa, even though the people were found slain and there's no damiko. So according to the regular klal of Egla Rufa, we should have made Egla Rufa. But since there's so many murderers going around, so we stopped it. Why? We need explanations. We don't know why. Why is that a reason to stop it? And the Mishnah says, you know what that was? Eliezer ben Dinai. He was a big murderer. Eliezer ben Dinai. And we say him in Kinnis and Tisha B'Av. Right in the beginning, in the morning, Shabbat Suru Meni, the beginning of the Kinnos, and over there it says something about the Eliezer ben Dinai.
You got a good memory, maybe.
Who was? Who was?
He was a known murderer.
No.
Anybody have Kinnos around here? I mean, do we have any?
He's still murdered people.
Oh, I don't know, Stam. Maybe it's a good reason. Like he wanted money or something, or maybe he stepped on his toe. I don't know. Right? I'm not sure why he murdered, but he was a murderer, like a mafia probably. I don't know. I don't know what the case was.
A boy murdered his parents because they wouldn't give him money for something. It's terrible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anywhere
I should
in
go.
America. Last week or this week, last week. I think.
Probably the courts will say he was right there. They didn't give him money.
No, they don't say that.
Tisha B'Av morning service.
When he came on the scene, that's when,
That's when they stopped.
because.
It doesn't say why yet. It doesn't say because there were so many.
maybe
So what?
There were so many. When he came on the scene, then a lot, then it increased.
Yeah, but so what? Why that reason not to Egla Rufa?
We don't know.
We don't know yet. See, it says in the Shabbat Shul, many over there. So it says Al Hatzion, Sadu Shaonai Midonai, Tzapal Roshei Tzion Sidonai, Tzamsu Benov Lamod Zidonai. So it says Sato Laorem Midonai, Sa'akami Bimei Ben Dinai, Tzadiku Adonai. Here it is. So I remember something, but I didn't know where it was. But the Maharusa found it where it is. So here I'll just say the translation of. Was righteous. What's that all about? The son of Dinai. So it says in the footnote over here. I don't know how to read this. How do I read this? Ben Dinai. The son of Dinai. Eliezer ben Dinai was an infamous murderer. Sotah 47. Ksubis 27. Oh, Ksubis 27 also. 27a. That's a nice Maramokon. His unsuccessful revolt against Roman domination brought swift retribution and heavy bloodshed. Josephus describes how he was captured and brought to Rome for trial. So that was somebody infamous, but he's a murderer, and he also had. So this is his revolt against Rome. But here it says in Agamor that he was a murderer. Ksubis 27a. That's a nice Maramokon.
Right?
A Jew, right?
Yeah.
And since there were so many murders, that's a reason to stop Egla Rufa. We don't know why that should be. His name was originally Tchina ben Prisha Hayanikra. I don't know why. I don't know why the Mishnah has to tell us that. His name was originally called Tchina ben Prisha, and then Chazul Kroso ben Aratzcha, and then they called him the son of the murderer, or the murderous person. So that's like a side point, and I don't know why it's important for the Mishnah to tell us why his name was changed. I don't know.
His first name was Chanina, no?
Tchina.
Sounds like
Tchina is a nice name. It wasn't
So does Prisha. Tchina ben Prisha sounds like a great
fitting
tzaddik.
to such a person.
Okay, so what do you want
He
to
had
learn
the
now?
potential to be a great person.
Okay.
Was it that they didn't want to say his name? Is that what they called him? Ben
I don't know what to say. I don't know.
Ratzchin?
So in this case, Mishra Raschan, the next case is now we're going to go on a side. The Lachoro are going on a side issue now. Agav on a cruise because we said Rotzim, we stopped Egla Rufa, and Hilchos Egla Rufa is over. All that Egla Rufa is over. Now we're going Agav. Happens to be Agav is bringing us back to home base because Rabbi Amanaf has to do with Sotah now. So Amsach is really Mesech Sotah. The whole thing came Agav because we said Eilan and one Balash Nakodesh. So we came into Egla Rufa as a side point, and now the side point of the side point brought us back to the main subject again. And now Mishra Amanaf and Pasco Maim Mamor, they stopped doing Maim Sotah. They stopped doing the Maim Mamor to the Sotas when it became a lot of people that were Mazana. Why is that a reason not to do it? Other Rabba, why is that a reason not to do it? So we're going to see. Oh, the Gemara says right away, the Mishnah is going to say, we had the Yisod that the Maim Mamor doesn't work if the husband is not pure, not fitting. Well, no, maybe a better word. If he is disloyal,
Not clean.
not clean, yeah, so then it's not going to work to check his wife. So since there were so many men who were already suspect that they are Mazana, so the Maimon didn't work. So they didn't give the
I
woman
don't
the
really
dream.
get it. He's not a tzaddik, but he didn't do anything else.
He did something else, huh? It's not,
Then what is or stam?
even it's not even a pnuya, but even a pnuya is not
He's
us.
not a tzaddik, but that's no connection.
Yeah, yes, that's not on the level of that, but that his wife should be able to be checked is only if he's. But Lachaba comes out that they're not going to
If
be
he's
able to
with a
drink, so
Penuya,
she'll be usher. She'll be usher.
Yes.
She has to divorce him.
If he was with a Penuya, that's good enough.
That the Gemara is going to say that's the reason that also it's not going to be bodek his wife.
Oh, I thought it was only if he was.
Mizana with the Aisha
No,
says.
no.
So we didn't have it yet. We have no way of knowing. But
Okay.
today the Gemara is going to say that. When they stopped giving to drink the Mayim Amor, he's the one who stopped it. Rabbi Mazaka is the one who stopped it because there was nus in his days. Towards the end of the Bayesheni. Shenema, Loif called Abu Nosechem Kisas Nana, Babu called Nosechem Kisan Afna, Kihemi Mazonu Shifaredu. So here it says, I'm not going to take reckoning of your daughters if they are Mazana, or of your daughters-in-law if they are Mazana, because they are together with the Zonos. So the Pashpashat might sound like because your sons-in-law are not Beseda, therefore I'm not going to reckon onto your daughters and daughters-in-law. The Gemara might say a little different shot. It's a pasuk in where is this pasuk? Hosea 4.
Hosea 4.
Did you want to say something, baby?
How did Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai have the authority to do this?
Because the pasuk, the halacha is going to be that the halacha is that if the man is mizana, doesn't check his wife, and there was only people that were being mizana, so the more chances were that it's not going to work. So what's going to happen? She's going to drink, and we don't know that her husband was mizana, and then they say, oh, everything's fine. She's mutter to her husband, but really she's not, because the statistics were getting high that men are mizana. So he said that we're not going to let the woman to
So he
drink.
wasn't changing the law.
He was applying it.
He was applying the law.
According to the circumstances of the time.
I mean, he had the right, he was the God right door, he didn't have the right to do it.
Does a Gadol
Make
have
it
the
a
right?
The question was, you can't change Divrei Torah. So the answer is, he was applying the Torah. He wasn't making a change. There's such a thing as being okay Divrei Torah. Sometimes Sheva al Tasa, there is such a concept. But hey, you don't need it. They were just saying that the law, it says that if the man is Mazana, so if we know the man is Mazana sexually, that was always. But in this time, it became so not that he said we're not going to do it anymore because such a high percentage of the men are
I'm
being
just
Mazana.
wondering, because like in our day, the Dole or don't make takanas.
They do try, but not always people listen to them.
Okay.
After they died, this is in Pirkei Avos. You have the Seder of the Doros, and they are after. I think this is Sotah. So they were. One was the Abez, one was the Nasi, one was the Abez. They were the leaders of the Sanhedrin. And then when they died, Batu Eshkolos. That was the end of the Eshkolos. What's Eshkolos? So the Muslims say it means people that had the whole Torah. People that they had the whole Torah and nothing was forgotten. And then in their days, started the machlokas. Till then there was no machlokas. They all had the Masorah. Of course, there could be applications of a new halacha, but everything in the Torah was given. As Torah was given, it was passed on to the next generation till their generation. Shenema, the Shenema here doesn't mean bring a proof to what I just said, but it's saying that that's Pshan the Pasuk. There are no clusters to eat. So the Pshan the Pasuk is that there's famine, there's no grapes growing. A bikura like a first bikurim, the first fruit that I would want, that I ifsan avshi, that my heart desires. But the Gemara is saying, you know what? Means there are no such people anymore. That there's not going to be people that Isha kolbo. They're not going to be a kolbos. There's not going to be people that have the whole Torah. They're called the Eshkolos.
What is Osa?
Ifsa, like Tava.
Ifsa.
Ifsa nafshi. There'll be kura that you don't need it for the drush over here. Just in the beginning. And Eshkol, there are no Eshkolos left. What's Eshkol? The Gemara is saying Pashpashat is a cluster of grapes. And now we're saying that it means Eshkolos means people that have the whole Torah. The next one is about Yochanan Kohen Gadol. Yochanan Kohen Gadol, Hebrew Adayas HaMaisa. He's the one who stopped people from saying Vidu Maisa. Vidu Maisa is a mitzvah in the Torah, but that's not recently about it has to be a Lashon Kodesh, and that's the Yarati Kodesh Menabai, that you have to declare after 3 years that I did all the mitzvahs of Trumas HaMaisvos correctly. So he said
means to do
he passed it on. He said stop saying it. And the question is going to be how can you stop saying it? The Torah says you're supposed to say it. He said don't say it. The Gemara is going to talk about that. Another thing that he did, when he stopped the wakers and
No,
no fin.
the knockers.
The knockers,
Many-
the wakers
many-
and the
Knocker,
knockers.
the knockers.
So it got-
Again, the aunties, all the aunties. Meaning they were misnagid to the halacha? Or is
No,
it-
no, they're knocking to wake people up in the morning.
so that's the question. What
I
did
don't
they
know,
do?
that's what I
Amora
thought.
means to wake up, to wakers, the vekkers. He stopped the vekkers. He stopped the wakers. What does that mean? It's a riddle. It's a mystery. So the Gemara is going to say
Wakers,
what.
you think is a good thing. They're arousing the people. to
Yeah. So the
tshuva.
Gemara over there says the Gemara is going to say what it means. Should we keep it as a
Yes.
mystery?
Yeah, that's right,
Keep it.
that's right,
In suspense, we can wait.
Even what does it mean? That he stopped the wakers and also the nokvin, the knackers, the cloppers. They were cloppers and he stopped the cloppers. What does it mean? Mystery. The Gemara is going to take care of it. I don't think that most Daf Yomi Shirim do this, but okay, we'll
Wow.
keep it as a mystery till we get to the Gemara.
Well, most of them don't keep it as a
We
mystery.
like your star, we're not asking you to like it.
And when you learn Mishnayos, we wouldn't keep it a mystery.
It shows you. not
That's
everybody-
what's in the Gemara.
everybody else.
Huh?
Let's wait for the Gemara. Ad Yama Payipatish Maki b'Yerushalayim. This also is a mystery. Until his days, there used to be a hammer knocking in Yerushalayim, and he stopped the hammers.
Wow.
What's that?
Nobody knows
Why
what they did.
why should he stop hammering in Yerushalayim?
Mm.
So suspense. During his days, you don't have to ask about the mind. The mind means that the Amarasim didn't take off properly. So the mind sounds like you have to take off the mind. And here it says you didn't have to ask about the mind anymore. You didn't have to investigate. Why not?
You didn't have to ask about the mind.
So why not?
Maybe because you couldn't somech on anybody. You couldn't even somech on. But you're talking about you read at the doors. So that's
The
what it
mind,
is.
the
So
mind,
you couldn't-
the
You
question.
couldn't somech that they were neman afilu or something.
So then you should take off. Okay, maybe the most going to say like you something
The
like
mind's
that.
questionable.
The mind's a questionable.
Yeah.
You don't know if the Amor took off Meiser or not. Who says he did?
And
So
you
that's the
said then
question.
you didn't need to ask them.
You didn't need to ask. So the Gemara is going to say not what we expect the Gemara to say. Maybe close to Yechaim David, and we'll see. All this leave as a mystery. Yochanan Kohen Gadol. Yochanan Kohen Gadol is famous Kohen Gadol, but at the end he turns sour. Over there we know that he was a Kohen Gadol for 80 years, and at the end he turned sour. So that's
He
not
did
the
good, didn't he?
doesn't say.
Doesn't it say that he
Yochanan-
Take up
Yochanan
Tikach.
Kohen Gadol?
get rid of your begadim tzoim? Take off your dirty garments?
No, you're talking about Yeshua
Is that what-
and you're talking about the David. This is talking about in the Bayit Sheni. This is talking about you're talking about in the Psukim. It's back to the Mishnah. So it says that if the murderer was found, so it said that if it was ready after the Arifa, so then it was a proper Aglarufa and it took effect, and it's Asabana, Tanarabana. Minayishim therefore Egla, this goes to the point about that you killed the murderer. Don't think that that's because the Egla Rufa, then you found the murderer that is potter. No, that to the land, it's not going to be forgiven the blood that was spilled in it until only with the blood of the spiller. You have to kill the murderer. So that's no way out. The murderer has to be killed. But until we find the murderer, so we made a kapara. I had a thought that the Gemara could have brought other psukim to say that the murderer has to be killed. But here it's talking about even inside the tzibur. The tzibur is not forgiven if the murderer is around until you kill him. If you don't know who he is, then you bring a rufa. Once you find the murderer, you must kill him in order to get a kapara for the land, for the tzibur. That you have to kill him, maybe that's pushing. But I'm just wondering why the Gemara brought this pasuk. Maybe that's the reason. Not that the murderer you have to kill. Maybe that's pushing. The brought a pasuk to say that the tzibur also doesn't have a kapara anymore once the murderer was found until you kill him. Then the Mishnah said
Oh, even the murderer doesn't have a kapara, is that what you
the
said?
murderer surely you have to kill.
Yes.
But the murdered,
It's the
the one who got murdered doesn't have the.
No, the tzibur
tzibur won't
have a kapara until the murderer is killed. If they don't know who he is, they bring a glarufa to get a kapara, temporary kapara until they find out. Once they find out, they have to kill the murderer in order that the tzibur should have a kapara. The Mishnah said that 1 against 1, you bring a glarufa.
Mhm.
One said no, you didn't, so they bring a glarufa. But the idea is clear that only because 1 against 1, if only will be one person comes and says that I saw, so you don't bring a glarufa. Time with him only because there's somebody against him. But if there would be nobody contradicting him, then if one person says I saw the murderer, so you don't do egla rufa. Why is that? Not immediately. The Tana Rabbanan, no da miko. Pasuk says the case that egla rufa is because you don't know who killed him. No da miko. If you do know, even if it's somebody, the person who knows about it is not here. He's not here in order to testify. He's on the other side of the world.
Mhm.
Another point, the Kiva Omer, Menayim Sanhedrin, Shiro Echad Charigas and Nefesh, they Makirin also. Sanhedrin, I don't know why it says Sanhedrin, the should be anybody. Sanhedrin saw the murderer, but they don't know who he is. He was masked, he ran away, but they saw it. So
They saw
also,
the Maisa, but they don't read.
right, also lo hayu orphan, Damaloma, Veinenu lo ra'u, that they say that our eyes didn't see. Lo ra'u, they did see.
Well, the question is what?
How do you know that if you saw the murder,
If
even
the whole
though,
is Sanhedrin or one?
yeah, I don't know why it says Sanhedrin. The Chorah should be also even anybody
Anybody sees it.
that he sees it, but he doesn't know who it is. Also, you don't do Eglah Roof. Only if it's like nobody saw him, nobody knows, because it says Einenu lo ra'u. That's when they bring Eglah Roof.
Okay, what does it mean, Shalom, you or Fin?
You don't do Eglah Roof.
Oh, you don't do it.
Because it says Einenu lo ra'u. That's the case where you do Eglah Rufa or lo ra'u. They did see. Period.
Oh, I see.
Just to point out, that's the end of that sugya, and now we're going to go into the one against one, the whole sugya. So just to point out, a nice shot that came across, and then we found it at the end of Sugya Yerushalmi. But nobody in the Mepharshim on the Chumash, nobody brings it down except for the Haimik Dova. Then it's it. Maybe Talmud, maybe Targum Yonason, maybe, but it's not so clear. But
That's good
Haimik
enough.
Dova, but Haimik Dova brings down Yerushalmi, and it's really surprising. What do they say? Yadein Losh, of course, Adam Hazev Einenu Lo Ra'u. The Bezin says, there's a king who say that our hands didn't spill his blood and our eyes didn't see. So the Gemara said up shop before that we didn't see this victim that passed through our city and we didn't let him go without food or we didn't escort him. That's how all the Mepharshim say. That it's not we weren't irresponsible about taking care of the.
Right, if you would have known, we would have taken care of it.
Yes. There's a nice push-up shot that's almost the opposite. That the Bezdin is declaring that we didn't let the murderer go. It wasn't, of course, Adam Hazeh means if the murderer was available, we could have killed him and we didn't kill him, or we could have put him on trial. They're saying if we didn't see the murderer, not that we didn't see the victim and didn't take care of him, but we didn't see the murderer and ignore the problem. Move shot on the pasuk, on the pasuk. It might even be simpler than the Gemara's shot about we didn't see the victim and send him away without. And then we didn't spill his blood because if we would have known the murderer and we didn't kill him, then we're responsible for the blood. And our eyes didn't see him and I put him on trial. Very simple, nice push-up shot.
There's only one there. There's Amit Cover.
So he got it from Yerushalmi.
Yerushalmi is strong.
Yerushalmi itself brings down both shatim. Yerushalmi itself says both.
Wow, so surely everybody knew that was Yerushalmi.
So why does nobody bring it down? In the push-up shot.
They wanted to show us how great. They wanted to show us how great the Emek David.
Even Rabbi Kaplan doesn't bring it down. He
No, why most people want to go with the Gemara's Pshat, no, rather than the Pasuk Pshat? No, the Gemara's
You have to know-
the Gemara's Josh.
You have to
Yeah, the Gemara, Lamite, but since
The Gemara doesn't say-
Josh,
doesn't say-
Pshat, Remez, Jewish, so they're different, everything's true. But why not bring down, I'm surprised that usually they will bring down, this is true to some Mikra, and over here you have both of them are valid Shatim. So it's interesting. And it even seems it might even be simple. We're so used to this strat already, so as soon as you see the pasuk, everybody translates it the way the Gemara did. But it could be that that's not so much a simple reading of the first pasuk. Okay, now Rashi tells us, and this whole Gemara coming up, it's about 10, 15, 20 lines. He says it's the exact format of the Gemara we had once upon a time before. And he says, I'm not going to explain it because I explained it already. It's exactly the carbon copy of before. Before we had a sugya about sotah, the whole sugya of sotah, we're in Masechah Sotah still. We've left it for a while, but we're in Masechah Sotah. Over there spoke about that there was a warning and a seclusion, she has to drink. And there we said that there's one person that says that that he or she knows that she was mazana on the znus, not on the seclusion. On the znus, so then she can't drink. Right? That was the sugya before. And over there also said 1 against 1, 2 against 1, 1 against 2. It says the whole thing before. And here the sugya goes the exact same format as before. And here it starts. What does it say in the Mishnah? 1 against 1 is cancelled out. And it's as if nobody's here and you do a glavufa. But the kasha is no. If there's one person that says that he's believed, and if he's believed, he gets the authority of 2, and he should be considered 2. And if somebody says you weren't there, so it's 2 against 1, he should be stronger. That's the most kasha. How could one contradict one? Whenever the Torah trusts one, he has the what would you say? He has the power of 2, and in the one that comes in and contradicts him, he's only a 1. But the person who came first, he has an amanas of 2, so it's 2 against 1. So if one aide came and said that I saw the murderer, and the other one says you didn't, the first one should be believed, and you shouldn't say it cancels out. That's the kasha anula chumar mishnah. Amula chavula tani lo hayu orphan. So change the gear. So you're right. 1 against 1, you don't do because the first one wins. So Ula and Abitzchak, both of them change the gears in the Mishnah and say that you have to change the gears and say lo hayu orphan because the first one that came, he's believed like 2, and the one against him is canceled. But Reb Chia keeps to the gears of our Mishnah. Reb Chia Amar, it's the same names over there also. Reb Chia Amar, tani hayu orphan. Keep the Mishnah the way it is. Let's keep the Mishnah the way it is. So then it's against the Ula. Reb Chia kasha the Ula. That's why 1 against 1 cancels out. You should say that the first one wins. Lo kasha. When does Ula say he has a din of 2? Only if his edus was accepted in Bezdin. That one aid came and said that I saw the murderer. Bezdin accepted it. Nobody argued. Anybody have anything to say? Nobody complained. So Bezdin said that an aid echad is not going to be egla rufa. Then afterwards, another person comes in and says he was not there. So then the first one has a power of 2. But if both of them came together, one says I was there, the other one says no, you were not. Bezdin never had a decision. They never accepted the first one. So then Ula doesn't have to say over there that the first one has more power, and it'll be 1 against 1. That's how the Mishnah is going to be talking about. The Priya will say, I agree to the din of Ula, but in the Mishnah, you can say, leave it the way it is, and it means for Vasachas, if they came simultaneously, so Bezdin never accepted the one alone, so 1 against 1 cancels out. So the same way we did it last time, we had the Mishnah 3 cases. We had 1 against 1, then 1 against 2, then 2 against 1, and the Gemara is going to bring these Mishnayos to make the diak. What's the din if it would be 1 against 1?
And the answer is that we do the egel. We do the egel. Am I correct?
It depends which case.
One.
We just said that there are 2 cases over here. That depends if they came basachas or not. If it's 1 against 1, the Mishnah when we have it says it's canceled out and you do the egla rufa, as if nobody would be here. Right. But that the Gemara says only if it be basachas. Both of them came together. But if it would have been that the first one came and said, I saw him, and Bezdin accepted him, so there's no egla rufa. And even if another one's going to come and argue and say you didn't see him, still he was accepted already, and you don't do that.
No? The same thing.
Right, that's what he said. That the whole Sugi is a carbon copy of Sotah, just to see the Rashi over here, to enjoy the Rashi. Rashi says, I explained it already. Here he says, the whole Sugi is all, I explained it already in Perek Mishakine, Lamaral, Be'ena, Chaluka, Kankum. There's no difference at all. Exact same Sugi as before. There's no chiluk here and there. It's the same exact Sugi. I'm not going to explain it. I explained it already.
We're saying, Kahanim in Kimo Hayab Sotah.
That's what he says. Sugi Kula Perashtia, the Perek Mishakine, Be'ena, Chaluka, Kankum. The whole Sugi I explained in 31, and I'm not going to repeat it. I said it already.
That's right.
So here, let's go back to the Mishnah again. We have 3 cases: the yellow, the green, and the blue. The first case, 1 against 1. Then it's going to be 1 against 2. Then it says that the 2 win against the 1, and then 2 against 1. Whatever, the 2 shall get 1 against 1. And now the Gemara is going to go back to be the daik. What's going to be the din against a case of 1 against 1? The Mishnah seems to be superfluous to say 2 against 1. We said already, even 1 against 1. See, here's the Gemara. Case number 2 in the Mishnah. What was it over there? Green. 1 against 2. 1 says I saw him, and 2 said no, you didn't. How you walking? So the 2 wins over the 1, and it's as if we don't accept him, and you do that because nobody saw him. What could you be medayik? How about 1 against 1? If it says 2 against 1, 2 wins against 1, you can be medayik that 1 against 1. In the Mishnah's case, the follow would be that you don't do the egla rufa, and not like your Priya wanted to explain Tifta. You have a Priya because a Priya said the Gersa should be hoyuwarf, and it wouldn't make sense if the Mishnah would say no hoyuwarf. Mishnah would say hoyuwarf. We wouldn't say 2 cases in a row that hoyuwarf. 1 against 1 is orphan, and 2 against 1 also orphan. That wouldn't make sense. But the Rapiya says continue to the 3rd case. Continue to the 3rd case. And blue. You orphan. If 2 people came and say that they saw the murderer, and 1 says no, you didn't. So of course you trust the 2 against the 1, and you don't do the egla rufa because 2 say that they saw, and you can make the you orphan. So that's like me. So case number 2 and case number 3 is a contradiction within itself. So leave me out. We want to know what the gear says in the first line of the Mishnah. And we're trying to bring from the 2nd case. But the 2nd and 3rd case anyway contradict each other. So figure it out before you come to ask me questions. Ella, you must say like this. Ella, mas nisan, pula b'psuli edus. The Mishnah is talking about not a regular case, but psuli edus. And the sort, the is going to be that ula that says that when one person comes, he has the authority of two. That's only if they're kosher edim. Means that there's halacha, but all these halachas that a woman is also believed. Woman and psuli edus also believed. But he's going to say, but they're a bit less than kosher edim. A kosher edim that comes, he gets a stamp of approval, and it's as if he signed it as if he was two edim. But a proselyte that comes, even though we do pay attention to what the proselyte said, the woman or the proselyte, but it's not going to become the validity of two. It's not going to become the authority and power of two, and they're going to go according to the majority. Then you're going to say two against one. So it doesn't go to regular din of ula. Ula could be right, but the Mishnah is not talking about the case of ula. The Mishnah is not talking about the kosher edim. The Mishnah is talking about non-kosher edim. Non-kosher edim, you don't get the special authority that is considered two, but then you're going to go according to the majority of how many voices we have. Whenever the Torah trusts in one aid, so then you go according to the rove, and you don't give them the authority of two, but because they're puzzle edim. Here there's going to be two verses over here. The first verse says even two women against one man also is rove deos. Even though a man is a kosher and women are not.
What is that? Another case? I'm sorry, I'm getting lost.
Two against one. What's the two
Is
against
this a
one?
new case?
No, it's explained that you go at rove days. What does rove days mean? According to most opinions. So even though usually, let's say by regular edus, once you have two, so then two is like 100, and we don't care if it's two against 100. But by here you go according to the rove days. So it's talking about one against two. So two against one, two women against one man will be like two men against one man. That the two win.
Even if they're possibilities.
Right, Nashim Apostle, but two women cancel out one man. We do trust one man in these halachas over here.
We don't trust.
We do trust
We
one
do,
man, but if you have
but
two,
two
it's
is
going
gonna
to
override it.
overpower the one.
Even if
Even
they're
two women are going to
Even
overpower
if
the
they're
one.
that's the hidden.
Right, but the point is to say that even though Ula says that one person has the koch of two, it's only if he's a kosher aid. But if it was a non-kosher aid, then so then you go according to the majority. And here it says, according to this version, even two women will cancel out one man. Igadamri, others say not exactly. Once you had the kosher aid, the kosher man, so then even 100 women will only be considered one, against one. My skin, if you go on that, by women will say that one woman against two women will say that you go according to the rove. The second case is going to say that two women against a man, it's not gonna cancel out the man. But and explain that Nehemiah's words like this, a little different, one word different than we said before. Here, and that's to highlight this. Here we said, in the first case we said, that even two women against one man will cancel them out. Now, 2 lines later, you should explain that Nehemiah's words like this. Everything's the same except for one word. Whenever the Torah trusts in Eirecha, you go according to the majority of opinions. Change that one word. Before he said even two women against a man will cancel him out. Here it says two women against a woman will cancel her out. By women, two women against a woman will cancel out the one, the same way two men will cancel out one man. If it'll be two women against a man, the man is still going to be at least as strong as the two women and will be considered palva. The main, I don't get all the details of the war's answer, but the main answer to answer the kasha was, even though Ula is right, that that the Torah believes and he's accepted, he becomes power of two, but it's only when it's a kosher aid. When it's a non-kosher aid, then it goes according to the rove. And that's why the Mishnah has to say that the two win against the one. They're still talking about psuli edus. The Gemara ends off the tati psuli edus lamali. Why does the Mishnah have to say both ways? Once we say that you go to majority, two against one wins. So why is it necessary to say both directions? Two against one this way, two against one that way. It says in the Mishnah both cases, case 2 and 3. So once you know the chiddush that you go with the majority of opinions, what's the difference which way it says it? You have to learn one from the other. The answer is that one is a chumrah, one is a kula. Over here, the chumrah probably would be to bring egla rufa. The kula is not to bring egla rufa. So if we say the case of chumrah, that two Edom said we didn't see. How does it go? That two Edom say What's the, just to go back a second. Eirach, what he said I saw, and therefore there's no egg larufa, and two Eidim say you didn't see, and therefore there is egg, that's a chumrah. But you might think that for a chumrah you believe two against one, but for a kula not, which is the next case, that two Eidim say, I'm going to say all psula, the psula Eidim, that two say that we did see, and therefore there's no egg larufa, and one said that you did not see. So Allah, you work, and that's a chiddush that you go with the two against the one, even the kula not to bring the egg larufa. So I don't have all the details. I didn't get this. This is a complicated subject, I think. Over there also we left it hanging a little bit. But in general, that's what's being said, that when there's a kosher aid, so then he has an aid we trust him, so then he has a din of two. But by psul aid, you don't go with this thing that is considered two. Then you go according to the numbers of how many said, and you go with the majority against the minority. But there's machlokes in the two versions, even two women against a man or not.
And we're holding the two women as stronger than a single man.
That's the first case. To the second case, it says that they'll be equal. Mishnah Rabu Rotskim. Back to the Mishnah, that's the Galata part that said once they became so many Rotskim, like Elazar ben Dinai, then they stopped the Egla Rufa. And the question is why? Tana Rabbana, Mishnah Rabu Rotskim, but the Egla Rufa, they stopped doing Egla Rufa. Why? Because only bring it because you have a doubt, you don't know who did it. Mishnah Rabu Rotskim, the Goloi, but the Egla Rufa. Once they started being people that murdered openly, so they stopped the Egla Rufa. What's the answer? Just because they murdered.
It's less of a suffix, maybe.
Why is that? Do we know? Does anybody come forth and say that I know who it is or I saw him? Is that the case? So Rashi says in the Mishnah, what does it say?
I think they knew it was him.
They knew it was him. So Rashi sounds like we know it. We know who it is. We know it's the mafia. We know it's the mafia. We can't pin them down. We know who it is.
We can't pin him down, but we.
Yeah, we can't pin them down. But we know who it is. I thought of not a possibility. And some also say it. I saw it afterwards. Some people, some say it that even though we don't know who it is, but since it was so rampant, there were so many. So they were chaburas. There were groups. So somebody knows. Even though we don't, nobody came forth. It could be also the mafia, and they have. How do they call it? Crime? What do they call
like
it?
in West Side Story. What do you call it?
Gang.
They're gangs. They're gangs.
So there's somebody else that knows about it. So someone knows about it.
We
One
know
person
that
killed.
it's the syndicate or a gang.
So somebody else knows about it. So I'm not going to knock the Ekla because we could assume that somebody knows about it.
Right.
Rashi says because we know who did it. That's a Kiddush. Another possibility might be that we know that somebody knows. It wasn't done secretly and they scared that somebody should know.
So has
People
it
did it.
been that it's known, therefore.
And therefore,
no
the
argument.
yeah, if
Eliezer
somebody,
Tanan, he would have been maybe like a ringleader.
yeah,
So he may have given an order and somebody else did it. Could
yeah,
also
but
be
probably, but according to Rashi's strategy, because we know who did it. Do we know who did it? We don't know who did it. We know he's a ringleader, but do we know who did it? Rashi says we know who did it. I'm saying Pshat, I think the first Shmuel says so, different than Rashi a little bit, that we know that somebody knows.
Because he would.
Not that we know who did it, but we know that, so you're saying that,
I'm saying, Rebbe
He knows
Eliezer
that.
ben Denai, if he
Eliezer
ordered
Ben-
it, he knows.
He knows who
He
did
said, take care of this. So.
even though he didn't see it, but he knows who did it. I was thinking that somebody was there with him, with the murderer, somebody saw the murder. But you're saying he doesn't have to see it, as long as he knows about it. You're saying as long as he knows about it.
Yeah.
Okay, now we go on to the rest of the Mishnah, Mishnah no thing. Once it became a lot of mazanim.
Because in our mafia, they for sure they would have an alibi that they weren't there. They would for sure know, be seen that they couldn't have seen it, but they know they did it.
That the man, the first part of the pasuk is saying that the man, what is that?
The mafia guy, he's in his mantle when the thing was done
Yeah.
in New York. He's amended it.
But he ordered it.
He ordered it. But he's, he's a big party.
He's got a good
Other
alibi.
people that he's.
Hey, I don't know anything about it. I'm sitting
well,
with my
that's-
buddies.
I was
I
gonna
made
say
good
that.
time in New York. What I got to do with your murderers?
Exactly.
I need to know from these guys.
I'm glad you settled that.
That's it. We settled.
So the first part of the pasuk is saying that if the wife does die because she was mizana, so the husband shouldn't feel guilty. It's not his fault. He took her to drink, but she's the one who's responsible. But the more zarshaning that the man has to be innocent. In order that the water should work, the man has to be innocent on his level. His man both can assist. If the man is clean from sin, so then the water is going to work to check out his wife. And both can assist. But if the man is not clean, so then the water is not going to work for his wife. The Omer, another pasuk to say that. One pasuk, one brush was from the pasuk. We need a couple of psukim over here. That's mean the psukim. We need That's the first pasuk. Another pasuk it says, like it says in our Mishnah, etc. I'm not going to reckon on your daughters that they're mezana and your daughters-in-law because they, so means their sons-in-law, the sons, they're hanging out with the zonos. Ma'av Omer. What do you have to have two psukim for? Rashi goes into the pasuk that it means Rashi has a drash on the pasuk. Lo F code. I'm not going to take care of your wives. Why? Because the family is being bezan already. But maybe it can learn the Gemara a little easier that I'm not going to reckon on your daughters because of your sons-in-law. I'm not going to reckon on your sons daughters-in-law because of your sons. My bone. Why not pasuk for? Why is the first pasuk not enough? It's enough. The answer is the low. You might think that only the sin of himself, if he's not innocent, so then it won't work for his wife. How about for his sons? So Rashi goes into the Gemara now that if the sons and daughters, if the daughters are mezana, the sons and daughters, so then it's not going to work for the father either. The father is wife. There's a husband and wife, and they have children. If the children are mezana, so it's not going to work to be bodeg the mother. And the Raman says,
The children are
if
mezana.
the children are mezana,
Then
then it's not going to work to inspect the mother. The mother's a sotah, so why? So Ramban says the case is that the father is not stopping them. If the father is not taking care of his children, not to do znus, he has the ability to, and he doesn't. He ignores what they're doing. So then the water doesn't work for his wife either because he's lax. He's laxing himself or his children. He's not taking care of his children. What are you able to do?
He acquires the title of being a zona according to the children that he did not educate the right way.
You don't have to say that that words. It's not going to help to inspect his wife if he's not taking this seriously that his children shouldn't be in the zana. You're saying that the label is on him. He doesn't say that, but it's not going to work to inspect his wife if his children are, and the Ramban adds on because he's not doing what he could. If he could stop them and he doesn't, so then it's his responsibility.
But isn't this saying the opposite? The hitema bond the day in.
If it only have the first pasuk, you'd say that the first pasuk, but that's why there's a second pasuk to say that even your sons and daughters, even your daughters and daughters.
The tashma is the answer.
Right. Where's that?
In other words,
No, tashma. To say that even if the daughters and daughters-in-law mazana, also it's not going to help for the man's wife.
I don't know how to read it.
The first part is the havimina that it
Right.
wouldn't, the children wouldn't affect them.
Right.
What's the law saying here?
That it's not going to stop the my memorial.
Their children being used
Doesn't affect. Doesn't
affect
stop
the
the
parents.
water. Kamashwan, that is also. Now another pasuk. In avon the pnuya lo.
Where are you?
This is the
Continuing.
second pasuk. Yeah.
So now we're going on to the continuation of the second pasuk, which the Gemara didn't say before. The printer didn't write it. It says here, etc. It should have said the whole pasuk. If you look on the screen, you'll see the whole pasuk. Okay, it goes together. I'm not going to reckon on your daughters if they're mizana, nor on your daughters-in-law if they're mizana, because they are secluded, separated with the zonos. Some say yiparedu like a mule, but some say yiparedu to separate, and they are making feasts with the kadeshos, also the zonos.
You're talking about the fathers or the children?
The children.
The children.
And that's where the Gemara says that even with Pnuya, you might this is what David Yaakov wanted to know before, only Eshesish, you might think so. But the Pasuk says, and the Kadesha is not Eshesish, a person, a woman who's a harlot, that she is designates herself as nus, that's also called the Kadesha. And even if the sons are being muzana with a pnuya, with the unmarried woman, also that stops the inspection of the sotah waters to work.
The law, every time you see the law on its own, it means it doesn't work. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, that it wouldn't stop it from working. You might think it wouldn't stop it from working. Mashman, it does stop it from working. The chiddush is going to be at the end of the story. Not only the husband, even the children, and even if it's not Eshesish, even if it's a pnuya, if they're being mizana, so then it's not going to inspect the man's wife. Some take out the next couple of words. The end of the pasuk happens to be V'am lo yavin yilo beit. It happens. That's the end of the pasuk. It is the end of the pasuk. V'am lo yavin yilo beit.
Which one?
V'am lo yavin yilo beit. the nation that doesn't understand is going to stumble or be wary. And it's not so simple. You need these words in order for the rest of the Gemara. So some do take it out that these words are not there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words they take out. And in the manuscripts, it doesn't say it. And just continuation of the Gemara. Amr Abalaza, Amr Nobel Yisrael, Imatem Akbidim Alas Mafem, Mind both Nishasechem. Love and a mind both Nishasechem. If you're going to be careful with yourselves, so then for your own znus and for your children's znus, so then the water is going to work for your wife. But if not, it's not going to work. The Gemara continues. Rabu, so it can be live to now about different issues, and some of them I understand, some of them I don't. So people that are indulging, people that indulge in gashmias, when you have a lot of them, when they've been increased, so then this also adina, and this kalkula meisim, there ain't no avrohom. So it's talking even the dayanim. When the dayanim are indulging, they're dayanim, they learn Torah, but they go to all kinds of feasts and restaurants and indulgences. So they're not learning with all their energy, and they're not going to make good dinei Torah. The psak is not going to be correct, and therefore people are not scared of the bezdin because everything is going off. So then, and they know Avrohom. Rashi learns that Hashem is not satisfied with the world. You can learn maybe that there's no nachas in the world means there's difficulty in the world. It's not comfortable in the world because there's no people are doing what they want because there's no good dayanim because they're interested in eating. That's what's that?
The bezdin is corrupt.
Because business corrupt because Rashi seems over here is because they not intentionally corrupt because of shochad and things like that, because they're not they don't know the issues with that, they're not involved in the din Torahs enough because they have too many parties.
But is this on its own, or is the Gemara going to explain it?
That's it. Each one it's going to be one line.
Each one.
It's going to be one line.
When there's a lot of people that are indulging.
From the time that it increased, the indulgers.
From the time that it increased indulgers,
the result, right, and it caused all these weird things. It's calculum meisim and all that is a result of the fact that the dayanim are too much indulging.
Because people were indulging, and so the dayanim were indulging.
The dayanim were indulging. It means the dayanim are the ones who are indulging.
So you read in the Jacob.
Why would that be? Because
why? Because the meat is good meat, good wine.
Well,
and that's what they want. They want good meat and wine and all kinds of.
Salmon.
That's what they're interested in. They're supposed to not be interested. They're not supposed to be interested in that. I'm not talking about somebody takes a piece of meat. I'm talking about people that they go.
Well, are we talking about bribery?
No. No.
They're interested in that, so why can't you have a good piece of meat and still
be engrossed with your whole
Torah? I see. I mean, their Torah is going to go down.
Right, that's the point. The Torah is going to go down because they're indulging. Torah goes down, then it comes in the Torah. They don't know this figure so well. Yeah, it seems that he's chayiv. Seems that he's potter.
I see.
What do you say? Chayiv, potter. Like it's taking it too light. They're not taking the Torah seriously enough because they don't know where.
There is an union of how the Shema is a person's even Gashmi. A person can be big in Gashmi. We have cases of the Rabbanim who ate half cows. Big, they could polish away a tremendous amount of meat. We have lots of stories like that. Got it.
Okay.
They're not bad people, and they're great sages. How is it possible?
Here's talking about the people that are doing it for indulgences. That's what we're talking about.
Here we're talking about it increased, right?
Yeah. That once this is the norm. So then the Piskei Din became corrupt, and people outside the Meisim, they're not careful about the Meisim anymore, and therefore there's no Noah comfort. So Rashi says that Hashem is not happy with his world. Mishababu Roy Punim Bedin. So it's all going to be also some kind of a favoritism. Some don't have the word bedin, some have the word roy punim.
What page what line are we on? Trying to find it.
Same line as before. But a lot of one line is coming up. So people, the dayanim that are showing favoritism, they care about who they are judging. I mean, not that they care in a good way. It depends who they are judging. I have a pshat that maybe is a pshatel, I'm not sure, that Roy Panim, some say that they used to put on the talis in order not to see who they are judging.
Oh, right.
If the dayan puts a towel over his head, he doesn't know he's judging, everything's fine.
Right.
Then he takes the towels off the head after he, I didn't know, I was told
I'm in big
that.
trouble now.
But once they started seeing who they're judging, this is my pshat. I don't think it's true, but that's the word. Maybe it's true. So then they stopped lo saguru. It says he's not supposed to be scared. The judge is not supposed to be scared of who he's judging. When he doesn't see who he's judging, so then he's not scared. But if he'd see, then he's scared.
Key rulings to
Lo saguru,
recognize
lo saguru.
the second one.
Well, I didn't say it. The person lo sakiru, also lo sakiru upon him, but he shouldn't recognize that because of him, I'm going to give him favoritism. So they stopped doing that. Now they took off the yoke of heaven and they put on themselves the yoke of flesh and blood. That they have not they're focused now not on what Hashem says, but what the Basar Badam says. So that's the problem of Roy Panim. The simple shot Roy Panim means that they are Makipanim. But to say the Shababu Makipanim as Butla Lo Sakiru, that's what it says. But the point is, if they care about who they're judging and they make distinguishing, he's here, I'm scared of him, I want to get on the good side of him. So then they put on themselves the old Basar Badam. The next one, Misharobu Lo Chashay Lechichos B'din. So what does that mean? When the Lo Chashay Lechichos, like the whisperers became increased. So then what happened? So, and I wouldn't know what the Gemara means. Rashi says it means that there are people that are whispering to the Dayanim, like lawyers and the Toin Rabbani, that is not supposed to be tilting the din, and they're supposed to present whatever the issue is, but not to have deals with the Dayanim. But once they start whispering to the Dayanim, so then again,
you read a Mamela, so you read it in Madrid.
this sounds really bad. This sounds that they're actually whispering to the Dayanim. The issue is that they're not supposed to be whispering to the Dayanim. The Dayanim and the Toin Rabbani is not supposed to have the coffee break together. It's not supposed to be any kind of. They're supposed to be with their person that they're representing in order to organize the time and to represent them and not to have anything to do with the Dayanim. I heard that it might be a problem nowadays. They're not supposed to have a coffee break with the Dayanim and the Toin Rabbani together. Well, what does that do? What does the Toin Rabbani have to do with the Dayan? The Dayan is a Dayan. They have their own Cheder Rebbes, and Toin Rabbani could stay with his Bali Dinim and the coffee break. No, there shouldn't be any talk.
When you're talking about Toin Rabbani, you're talking somebody who goes along with the victim.
They're supposed to present the victim, the claim. They're supposed to present his Dayan. That's what they're supposed to do. And not to have anything to do with the Dayanim. The Dayanim decide what that halacha is supposed to be. Here, Rashi says this on the side. Rashi on the right column. They start talking to the Dayanim. You're not supposed to talk to the Dayanim, only in the court, out loud, nothing quiet over there.
And this pasuk, did you read the pasuk yet or no?
No, it says that anger came upon Am Yisrael and the Shechina leaves, because it says that Hashem judges amongst the Dayanim. Elohim over here means the judges.
Elohim means the judges,
right? And it was
among the judges you shall judge.
No, he judges. That means that Hashem is judging amongst the judges. Hashem is there. So Hashem is there when they're good judges. But if they're these kind of judges, Hashem leaves them.
Or when they're in their own heterocha.
When they're doing.
I thought it was like a drush that the care of Elohim. When it's just the judges and not everybody else, that's when Hashem will judge. That's what I thought you were saying.
I didn't mean. Because man should be careful of him spoke. Elokim nisav. Rashi means the beginning of the pasuk. Elokim nisav. Adaseh. Be careful of him spoke. When. I'm not sure what Rashi means. When the point is going to be that when there's good mishpat, so then Hashem is there. But if they're not doing good mishpat, so then Hashem leaves. That's the simple reading I would say in the Gemara. Rashi seems to say more. Next one, Misharobu Achri Bitzam Libam Molech. It's a pasuk. The Gemara is bringing down a pasuk. Achri Bitzam Libam Molech. Bitzam means prophet. Their heart goes after their prophet. When you have people, the Dayanim, that they're interested in the prophet, they only care about Achri Bitzam. What happens? Then they are more. Then the difference. Then there increases people that say that good is bad, bad is good. Means once there's no judgment, there's no true judgment anymore because the judges are interested in.
They worry about the old prophets.
The judges care about money. If the judges care about money, so then it's not a good judgment, and then people. It's supposed to be Sony Besa. This is not Sony Besa. This is Achri Bitzam Libam Molech. So then the people's opinion of what is good or what is bad also gets corrupted already. The whole way of judging what is good and what is bad. The whole everybody's outlook changes because there's no judgment.
What does
Which
it
is-
mean? Have.
You're ahead of me.
I am.
Same line, that's the beginning of the line.
Yeah.
Rabu Omrim Lavra Tov V'Lo Tov Ra. The next one. Misha Rabu Omrim Lavra Tov V'Lo Tov Ra. That's like a chain development.
Yeah.
When there become more people that say what's good is bad, what's bad is good, what happens? Rabu Hoi Hoi Ba'olam. Hoi 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 means whoa. And Rashi brings out that the pasuk is paraphrasing the pasuk in Yeshaya where it says Hoi Omrim Lavra Tov V'Lo Tov Ra. Maybe I have it on the screen still. No, I don't, but I'll try to put it on.
WOE, right?
Mm-hmm. There will be woe in the world.
Yeah, but it's the same for the sin.
I mean, this whole Agarit is about the Yerida at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Make that. So everything here.
Why say wait a minute? It's whenever it is. If it's nowadays also.
But I thought that's what we were talking about. But all when there was Merabe, the Zinus in the world, that was then.
That's when they stop. That's when they stop. Right. Here it is, a bunch of hoys. Here you see in the Psukim in Yeshaya. Hoy, the word hoy. Hoy is woe. Parakeh, it's one pasuk after the next. Pasuk here you have where you have hoy over here. Hoy magir bayis bebayis. Hoy mashkim me baboker. Hoy moshche ovel b'chav liyashov. Hoy omim levat tov v'latov ra. That's our pasuk we want. But all these hoys happening over
That's
there.
a puzzle.
One after the next, yeah. Hoy, all of them. Okay. So back to the Gemara. So when it became more people, increasing the people that say good is bad, bad is good, so there's more woe in the world.
Yeah.
Next, Misharabu Moshe, this I don't know if I don't know, Moshe Harok. We don't do this nowadays, but there's some kind of a
I have written here that helps you, Bali guy.
that's what it says, Rabbi Yehirim. But what is Moshe Harok?
What's the problem?
What is Moshe Harok?
Oh, you mean why?
Some mannerism of something to do with the saliva.
That spit it out.
That Rabbi Yehirim, the more Moshe Harok, there are more arrogant people. I would think the opposite, that the arrogant people, they do this. Whatever it is, it's a kind of mannerism that people that are arrogant, they do. What does that mean, Moshe Harok? I don't know.
They spit in the street.
I don't know. But that doesn't mean that the more spitters, there's more arrogant. It means the more arrogant people there are, there's more spitters. I don't see that causes doesn't cause
the
arrogance.
sign of arrogance is spitting in the street.
So then you wouldn't say Mishrabu Moshe Harok, but Rabbi Yehirim. That's not the way to say it. The whole thing we're always saying that the cause and effect. This causes this. This causes this. But here to say that
There's more spitting.
the more spitters, then the more arrogant.
Mhm.
I don't get it. But I also don't know what what's mannerism.
It's one verse from the other. Because of those that spit in the street,
That's why they're more arrogant people.
so then more people say, "Oh, it's okay to do it." They'll go on and
There'd be the more spitters, But it doesn't have to do with more arrogance. The spitting causes arrogance. You say the more people that are spitting, you say more people will be spitting. Till now they were 30, now they're going to be 50.
No, but I would
What
say
if they were
that,
arrogant?
if they were humble, they would say, "What are you doing that for?"
Does
They
it
would-
cause? Does it
you
cause?
cannot do
No,
the same.
somebody
cause
would-
arrogance?
somebody-
Does it cause
Seems
arrogance?
to me that spitting in the street
Oh,
is
right.
not a nice thing.
Okay.
And if somebody doesn't have the busha to stop it, then they'll become arrogant.
Why?
Because they're gross and they're acting
Okay.
gross, and so then they'll act more, they'll be arrogant.
Okay, I don't know. That's also to point
But
out,
what
but
do you mean
everyone's
with the
saying that it means
words, though?
spitting. I don't know if it means spitting. Moshe Harok.
He says,
From
I'm not
Rashi.
I'm just telling you, he said they spit at a distance, it shows a lack of respect for other people, and the lack of respect comes from the arrogance, so they don't have to respect that.
Who says that?
He said, the other art scroll, what's it called?
Most
Sion.
Whose name?
He said, I said, no, exactly, which indicates the feelings of superiority.
Superiority.
Thank you for the question.
So who's he being down from?
Tiferes
First is wrong.
Sion.
First, yeah. I think that's relevant. Who?
I don't know.
Rabbi Yudalevich, I think. maybe.
Moshach means to what? To-
Rashi says Marichen Harog. I don't know what Marichen Harog.
He
Rashi
might
doesn't
they
say-
spit it to a distance.
That's in Rashi. I wouldn't say it. Marichen Harog in Rashi.
No, that's not quoting Rashi. He says in the
Ah.
Gemara Bava Kama the
Uh-huh.
68.
Uh-huh.
Should we check that?
Okay, my Rashi says Marichen Harog, whatever it is. But there's something about Gaiva and it causes Gaiva, or it's an indication of Gaiva. He's saying it's an indication. It's an indication of Gaiva. Not
But
that
with
it's-
Moshe, the word means what? To
Yeah,
draw.
Moshe means to draw.
To draw. So he's drawing.
He's drawing.
Rashi saying in the distance.
I don't know. Marichen. I don't know. I don't know.
Ground.
So what happens? So people are more arrogant. Then it's smart to Talmidim. People become more arrogant, and then learners become less learners because more arrogant. So then people are less learners, and the Torah is trying to find somebody to learn it. That the Torah is trying to find learners. The Torah, as a personality, is trying to find people that are willing to learn the Torah because people are arrogant, so they don't learn. And as a result of when there are many arrogant, then the girls start, they're impressed. The
What
girls,
are you hearing?
Yim is arrogant.
What's the-
You are rough, you ever heard? You are rough, arrogance. So when there are more arrogant people, so the girls are taking,
Yohara, that's.
Yeah.
Okay, now I get it.
so the girls are impressed with cool
Right.
boys,
Kaividik,
and they marry to these guys. Because people only see art superficially. They look at the superficial and it looks like a good guy, cool guy. So the girls are impressed and they marry them. They want to say, what are you talking about? The girls are not impressed with the arrogant men. A person who's arrogant, even his own wife doesn't like him. That's a pasuk. That the man that is arrogant, lo yinveh. Pashpshat never means to live. He's not going to live. But the more says lashon of his wife. His wife is not going to like him. Lo yinveh afilu b'neveh. Even on his own wife, he's not going to be accepted if he's arrogant. So what he's saying that the women were impressed with the arrogant men. The answer is before marriage, after marriage. The self in the beginning, she's impressed with him.
Right.
But she sees an arrogant boy, she's impressed. Hey, well, he knows what he's doing. But then when she gets married, then she can't tolerate him.
Mhm.
The next one, Misharabu, get this the highlighter on again. Misharabu Matile Malay al Balibatim. When it started increasing the people who the Talmid Chachamim that would instruct the Balibatim means people that are rich, that they should take care of their capital. So there's such a thing that's considered a good thing, that Talmid Chachamim had capital, and people would take the capital and invest it for them to do that. The Talmid Chacham should be able to learn, and they take their capital and they invest it for them, they take care of it for them. But not that the Talmid Chacham is supposed to make them responsible for it. They want to help him, so then there's a big thing. It's better than supporting by giving them the capital to be able to taking their capital or giving them capital in order to be able to make money on it. But to make them they're responsible to do it. That's not a good thing. Rabba Ashochad, Batois Mishba, to Paskatova, then there's more room for bribery. If they're giving the Balabatim, the rich people, they're giving them the job of bringing them money. So then there's too much money involved over there, and there gets bribery, and I tell you, mishpat, it's got some kind of judgment, they're going to incline the mishpat. Paskatova means as a result, it's not going to be good, because Hashem takes away the good when there's not good judgment. The next one is Misherabu Mekablane Tova Seif.
I'm sorry, what does that mean, the beginning of that, this category?
Malai means merchandise,
Merchandise.
and matil means to place merchandise. So he places the responsibility of his merchandise onto the Bali Batim. There's the opposite word that it says the person who's matil malai, the kish Talmud Chacham is considered a big milah. If someone gives merchandise to a Talmud Chacham, that he should be able to, maybe the opposite way. Maybe I said the wrong way. That he gives the merchandise, he gives chorah to the Talmud Chacham, that the Talmud Chacham should be able to do business with it.
Yeah.
I said wrong. I said the opposite way.
That's good.
That's a good thing.
Okay.
But here it's saying that he gives the merchandise to the Balabatim, that they should be the ones to do business for him. He's not supposed to do that.
Because they corrupt.
Because they're taking too much, they're not supposed to have money issues. The Talmud Chacham not supposed to have money business that have benefit from people that are giving him money. So what happened after people are mekablani tovasech umechazkani tovasech? I don't know exactly what it means, but people that are too much into taking presents, and two people that are too machzik tov. Machzik tov is a good thing. It's supposed to have gratitude to the person that does you a favor. But when it's too much, it's overdone. You're not supposed to be machzik tov, but because you're getting favors, now you're already have shibud to him. How do you say shibud? You're indebted to him. Then it's no good. Then it comes Rabbi Isha Yosha Bein Av Yaseh Shvolim Mudbo Vagbo Mushpolu Malchusa Ozla Benavla. So I don't know how the Gemara knows all this chain of events, but then people start doing what they want because there's no mishpat anymore. Everyone, like it's the same idea. The golden thread is throughout the whole Gemara that the Dayanim have their own personal interests and they're not doing good mishpat. They break mishpat. That's the whole idea of all these Gemaras. But most of them. So here it says that when there's people that are so indebted for favors, so then people end up doing whatever they want, and the people that are low get elevated, the people that are high get lowered. And the kingdom, the rulership, goes more and more degenerating. Navla is like Rasha's misnabel, evil, disgusting. More that there are people that are someone that doesn't want other people to have it good. They're not happy about other people's goodness. And Torfei Teref sounds like pray, take P-R-E-Y. Getting people that are interested in their own money. Rashi says, Torfei Teref Gazlonim. Okay, it's simple that they steal. So the more people that are not interested in other people's good, and they even steal from other people, what happens? People lay hard in their heart, and they close their hands from lending. It says you shouldn't be to lend. But people that they don't care about other people, and they, on the other hand, they even take money for themselves, they're not going to want to lend money, and they're going to transgress what the Torah says. Don't hold back to lend money to your brother that needs. The next one is Mishavrabu, the 2 years Goran and Masakros Einayim. So this is the pasuk in the Shah. It talks about the girls that they would stretch out their throat and put on makeup on their eyes in a way that they would entice men. So of course, if it's a girl looking for a good shidduch on a date, that's very good. But if she's a sister, like Rashi says, or a woman that are not interested in shidduchim, that is enticing the men, what happened? Rabbu Mayim Amorim.
Meaning sotah.
Right. Then there's more Mayim Amorim, the more.
Frozen.
When it increased people that are taking presents, you're not supposed to love taking presents. It's smart to yamim, and people live less. A person who hates presents will live. A person who loves presents will not live. So the people that are always taking presents, so they're not going to live long. Mishavrabu zechuchei alev. Is that like a balagaiva? That why is it called zechuchei alev? Why is it different than zechuchei? Rashi says that they.
I have
kind of arrogance.
in my
What?
translation. I have self-confidence. Self-confident.
Self-confidence is a good thing, but over self-confidence. Too much. That they only care what they say themselves. They don't care what anybody else says. That's cool. Rashi says that's the point. It has to do with arrogance, but that's the point that's being said over here. So what happened? Rabbi Machlokes B'Yisrael. Then there's one Machlokes because people don't listen to each other. They don't care what the other one says. They don't try to figure out if the other one makes sense. They just care what they say. And the last one, no, not the last one yet. Misharabu Talmidei Shama B'Hil. Misharabu Talmidei Shama B'Hil Shloshim Shulchan Sarkan. When increased the Talmidim of Shama B'Hil, they didn't learn by the Rebbeim enough time. So here, the way the Rosh Hashanah explains, it wasn't their fault, but the Goyim stopped the Mesifta from being able to convene, and Memela they weren't able to come up to the level of Talmud Chacham that they should have. And then Rabbi Machlokes B'Yisrael, V'nashis Torah Kishtei Torah. So then there's Machlokes, and the way the Rosh Hashanah explains that they weren't able to get together to make a Sanhedrin, and they had to have just two separate houses, and that caused Machlokes, and it became like two Torahs, B'Shama B'Yisrael. So this is a bad thing, but it wasn't after their fault. And the last one is, or maybe not the last one of this, Misherabu, the Kabbalah, Tzedakah and Agoyim. when people started taking tzedakah, charity from the goyim. So how Yisrael Lamala, Behem Lamata, Yisrael Lafana, Behem Lafa. So it means the opposite. It's how do you call it? It's a euphemism. It means the opposite, that Yisrael was down and the goyim are up. Yisrael is outside, is behind, and the goyim are in front. It means you're not supposed to take tzedakah from the goyim. The Jews shouldn't take tzedakah from the Tzechel Hashem. If tzedakah takes tzedakah from the goyim, and here it says that Am Yisrael becomes lower. The fact that they're taking tzedakah from the goyim. I was mamish late, and we didn't even. Okay, what do we have tomorrow? Tomorrow is
Wednesday, we have 2 days.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, but you're done, so we have two more dafim.
We'll fold up and then 4 days.
Two more dafim.
You have Memches and Memches to more dafim?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Memched, so you got enough time if it goes well. But
Okay.
it should- And you would like to answer.
You can say,
Like
the
the
euphemism.
Is that way how you say the opposite? The opposite
It
of
said
what?
Yisrael, but it meant the.
Right, it means
the
that
haters of
Yisrael
Yisrael.
is down and goyim are up.
This is about a big Musik one can get in 1 hour.
Okay.
Everything's here, a cold boy and getting a trip together.